everybody! My name is Crash, or Crash Dude. Welcome back to the second episode of Star Trek Renegade. Or, I'm sorry, did I just say Renegade? Resurgence. Sorry, I don't know why I said Renegade. Star Trek Resurgence. There we go. Alright, previous episode, I got probably within an hour, maybe almost an hour and a half into the game. There's not a whole lot of good pausing points, I gotta say. So I kind of had to go through it again just to see if I can actually pause the game. But it looks like I can just pause it right here. So I'm glad you guys are able here to join me today. Let's get into it.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff.
All right.
It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
We're all curious about the future, Ambassador. Specifically, what exactly are we getting involved in here?
We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour.
Okay.
Ilidia and Hotari. Ilidians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Ilidians have shared a mining operation there. The Ilidians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Ilidians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
Have the Ilidians retaliated against the Hotari? Or taken any action against them?
Surprisingly, they have not yet responded in kind. They were open to a Federation presence, but it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Ilidian fleet in open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
That would be
We can
exploited.
call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
True peace is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
Neither the Ilidians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Ilidians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated to make this right.
Hold on. Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Ilidium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the ion storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy
It's true.
temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past.
Just give us some
If it's
time.
keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us negotiate a peace.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't,
All the more reason to learn as much about it as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught unprepared, should the energy anomaly continue to fluctuate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here. We're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
Okay. Oh. Just the ship coming in. Whew.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock.
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
When you look at it logically, yes, it is just a shuttle. No different than any of the others.
There is plenty that is different about it, and that is what you are to investigate. But please limit your findings to observable scientific phenomena.
We'll try to restrain ourselves.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
One nice thing about Vulcans, Chovak is the only person who didn't look at this and treat me like I was something to pity. Doc says I should get used to it. Doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it every minute of the day.
I'm sorry I went first.
Now that sounds like self-pity, and I'm even less interested in that.
But Nilly... Okay.
Let's just crack the shuttle open and see what we're dealing with.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Oh. Oh, nice. I can actually interact.
So,
Nice.
I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms.
Have some
That
faith.
just isn't gonna work for me.
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or her. Just running the numbers, and things don't work out more often than they do. I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Alright. Data recorder. Tapping the button. I just love the little 2 fingers trying to tap it.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
Your charter can read and analyze data. Looking through, it will reveal unseen. Use. Okay. Cool. All right. Nice. Where am I supposed to go? There we go. Some objects you can scan while activate. We'll activate a deep scan. Use LB and RB to switch between different scan modes. Alright. Where am I going? Huh. This idle inner skirt sensor array are functioning normally. Sensor filters of the target radiation. Interesting. Alright. How do I... Okay, there we go. I had to utilize my keyboard for a minute.
Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
I'm not here.
I'm
We're
not here.
escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to
just
see
got
you
done.
before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
You're the one with the important job to do. Keeping the captain safe. And Ambassador Spock.
It doesn't always feel that way. Baking in the hot sun, standing guard next to an empty shuttlecraft. But it has its moments.
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
I just usually zone out
Oh,
by the
yeah.
time he gets to the whole steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now. More
Just come
important
back
things
safe.
on my mind.
Do me a favor. Come back safe.
Deal.
We're not to the kissing point yet.
Be seeing you.
We're not at that kissing point yet, but gotta give them little love eyes.
If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now.
Oh, alright.
Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute
Interesting.
computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
True.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Okay. Oops. Wrong button.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Huh.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure return non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us.
Huh.
The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Nice. Seat of power.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you've come. My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours. And this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the
I don't know exactly what to say, but
We've
it's on her.
traveled a very long way to get here.
I know. We cannot express how much it means to the Hotari people that
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Uh-oh.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Oh boy.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
That may be true. But let's keep an open mind going into the negotiations. Hopefully he's just one voice amongst many.
Then let's hope he's the outlier.
The Hotari have invited us as their guests, so we must show them the proper respect.
Yes, sir.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
I'm trying to keep an open mind here, but it's...
Oopsies. Alright. Alright.
I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part...
She can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her. Now then, one should know their place. What you might be somewhere else is not what you are here. Which is standing before a queen. And a queen deserves respect. A bow is not too much to ask. Is Hotari Prime, heart of the Hotari system.
I am unfamiliar with your customs, Your Majesty.
We may not be a powerful civilization in your eyes, but we are prideful people. You are Kobliad. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Always.
You may be right. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
It's possible the Federation has an interest in both peace and securing a steady source of dilithium. One does not preclude or prevent the other. But that's just my personal opinion.
Given the Federation has done business with the Elydians for decades, I would agree. It's entirely possible, if not highly likely.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth.
The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without a Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies!
Oh boy.
The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Elydians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
I can't decide.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We'll take
boy.
back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again.
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
It's been a pleasure, Commander Rydek.
There's a lot of thinking you have to do in this game.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Hi, sir. Oh boy, this should be fun. Some nice. That's a real nice rifle.
Soothing.
Soothing. There it is.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elydians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
The Hotari have suffered enough at the hands of the Elydians.
I couldn't agree more.
He almost sounds like,
I assume you were there.
I think
the day
he's.
the mines were seized
He
from
is
the
a voice
Elydians.
actor from other shows
Not
too.
seized, reclaimed, and restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there.
I think he was from
We had
Star
to be
Trek,
decisive
or not Star Trek, Star
before
Wars.
the Elydians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
I'm curious why the Elydians haven't fought back. They have the ability to retake the mines anytime they want.
Ability is one thing, courage is another. The Elydians know any hostile action on their part will not end well. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. ready to contend with anything the Illydians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
I wouldn't say state-of-the-art, but the Resolute is plenty capable and can hold its own against just about anything.
Let's hope so. Because at the moment, it's the only thing preventing them from wiping us off the map.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Nice.
Commander Rydek, I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been very trying.
Yeah.
I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illydians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt.
Yep.
They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Because of what happened in the mines. Is it Galvin they're afraid of?
That's entirely possible. But I don't know for sure. Whatever Galvin is doing in those mines is turning everything upside down. But no one knows exactly what's happening. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security.
Interesting.
I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Are you sure of this?
It's been the talk of the palace since the day of the revolt.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Please.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Illydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Salit Arminta, Special Attaché, Elydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least, that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
I want to know what
Something
really
tells me
happened.
there's more to the story. So what really happened?
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You said the Hotari were primitive.
Well, they are.
Except for the part about weaponizing ion storms.
Yeah, that too.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
Interesting. Let's make a run of it. There we go.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
There we go.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
Warp failed.
It is evident that presently the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
Otherwise, it'll be an extended stay in the Hotari system.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clear picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Oh, great. Please tell me we're going to be able to pilot the shuttle. That would be awesome.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Oh, yep, we get to fly it. Yay. There we go. I got this. Jeez. A little bumpy.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Joyriding.
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
Nah, I just don't take it personally. At least I try not to.
That's a very mature answer. Shows a positive attitude.
I hate rocks.
Remind me of it when I start complaining to you about the ship's new first officer.
There we go. Damn, it's kind of hard to navigate. Here we go.
This is far enough. Transporting the first probe into position.
Nice.
Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Uh-oh. Problem? I just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. She rejected my plan to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. But on the other, she did listen to my advice and use the whole polarity trick to get you through that excursion alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did. You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Oh.
Whoa. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get
Big
another
time.
probe out there. With 2 points of data, the Resolute and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there.
All right.
Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
I appreciate the advice, Commander. I'll make sure I keep my options open.
I don't need to tell you how to operate. You're already well on your way. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work, and who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too. Of course, if you get an officer's commission, they'll put you on another ship.
But I don't know. I'm pretty happy where I am.
You must be a glutton for punishment. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has been known to take decades to warm up to people.
Whoa. Way off. There we go.
Here. This is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe.
There it is.
Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1. On.
Oh, jeez.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
What am I supposed to do? Locate interference. Here we go. I'm trying to...
We got
oh,
something.
there we go.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
There we
See
go.
if I can find some more.
Let's see.
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
Why would they be doing this? We came here to help these people. And now we're getting hit by some warp-killing weapon?
Now, look here. It's current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations, they line up with the interference pattern. The storm and this beam, they're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
Much, much bigger, probably. Alright. Looks like we're gonna head back to the Resolute.
We don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out.
A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
Here I thought the Illidians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
For all their posturing, every indication is that the Illidians are afraid of the Hotari. They didn't bring their warship as a threat. They brought it because they're scared.
From everything we witnessed, I would say that is highly likely.
But what are they afraid of?
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
She's worried that her people are being dragged into something that isn't going to end well for them. She's trying to save them.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
They want to learn a little bit more about us.
Sidron was very curious when we spoke outside the Queen's chamber. He wanted to know all about us, our ship, the Federation. He wasn't giving any answers. He was looking for them.
Well, I'm sure you didn't tell him too much. I don't think the Illidians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Armintas said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harness the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, Far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Illydians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Interesting.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. The Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Galvin and Citron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this.
I'm sending you a scan.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It was hard to tell.
Tylus wouldn't have offered to help if she didn't know what she was doing.
That's a lot of faith in someone we barely know. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illydians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We were, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
This artifact might be
Whatever
proof.
this artifact is may be proof enough. At least to satisfy the Federation.
Especially if we can show the Hotari are controlling the warp disruption. And targeting the Resolute.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our probes. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
Alright.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
What do you say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
All right.
All right.
3, 2, 1. It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Is that a plasma torch? That's a plasma welding torch. Don't we have to grab... Okay, I guess we're gonna grab the plasma welding torch.
Okay.
I was thinking about showing up. Uh-oh. There we go.
Here, I'll help.
Nice!
We've got this.
Say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem. You really know everything about these ships, don't you? The tools, the systems. Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
I'm good
What
at
can I
it.
say? I'm good at what I do.
The rolling of
I
the
can see that.
eyes.
Come on,
Oh,
start
damn.
pulling chips.
Alright. Oh. There we go. Oops.
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Oh. Alright.
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Wait. Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination. Retrieve a containment module.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue. You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Just leave it there for now. Messing around with it could be dangerous. At least until we know more.
That's exactly why we need to get it to the containment lab. I can't make an exception just for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are.
Alright.
But I overheard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call, get Starfleet to send more ships. Or I could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels. We shouldn't do this alone.
We're at the edge of the quadrant. Help isn't just gonna pop over like we're in Sector 001.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
You talk like you've never had your backs up against a wall before. This is Starfleet. We solve our own problems.
Okay, stand back. Get this to the containment lab. We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core.
Hey, Ay, ay. Oh! Okay.
Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you. Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast?
That's her job.
Of course she's taking it seriously, but that's her job. When she's on duty, she's got to be on the lookout for danger.
Yeah, but talking about sending a distress call on her own? That's going too
Yeah.
far. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses. This mission has enough complications stacking up.
Now, we'll get through it. You, me, and Miranda too.
Fair fact.
Commander Rydek was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Hotari delegation named Tylus. She mentioned an unusual artifact of unknown origin being held under tight security within the Hotari Palace, which she believes came from the mines on Tau. Now, this artifact might have a connection to the revolt, to the storm, and to the warp disruption we now know has been targeted at the Resolute. Commander Rydek, if you want to take it from here.
Of course. Tylus managed to infiltrate the heavily guarded location within the palace and sent us these scans using my tricorder. It appears to be some sort of control panel, possibly connected to the warp disruption weapon originating on Tau. Of particular interest is this symbol, which we couldn't identify the origin of.
The Federation database has records from a vast number of civilizations. If anyone from Starfleet has come across this before, the system should recognize it.
Cross-referencing with Federation records.
Displaying symbols from Federation database with a 90% probability of match or higher. Select a symbol to further analyze.
What does this look like? Looks like this one. I think I got it.
99.2% match.
Got it.
First try, baby. The Takan Empire.
What are we looking at?
The design and composition indicate this is a glyph associated with the ancient Khan Empire. Their civilization collapsed over 600,000 years ago.
If I
but
remember
once
my-
made millions of systems with a population numbering in the trillions.
If I remember my history
The Ta'Kar
correctly,
were once the most advanced,
that was
most
in
powerful civilization in the galaxy.
that
Is it
was
possible
in
the Hotari
Star
found
Trek Next
Ta'Kar
Generation.
technology?
I wonder if they even know what they have.
Our knowledge of the Takan is limited. I have only encountered passing references to them.
Actually, I've heard of the Takan.
You have?
Quite impressive, Commander.
Computer, summarize the Enterprise D's discovery of a Takan outpost.
Yes,
On
it was.
Stardate 41386.4, the USS Enterprise D, under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, discovered a Takan outpost in the Delphi-Ardu system. According to the mission summary, an unbreakable energy-draining field was deployed against the Enterprise and a Ferengi ship. The Enterprise was only able to escape after negotiating their release with an entity known as Portal 63, Guardian of the Takan Empire.
Unbreakable energy draining field. It starts to make sense.
What else is there?
There's a lot here. Let's take it piece by piece.
Select the aspect you wish to learn more about.
I think we should probably learn about Prospect or Portal
Someone from the
63.
Takan Empire is actually still around.
Or at least was, 16 years ago.
Computer, what other information do you have on Portal 63, Guardian of the Takan Empire?
The entity known as Portal 63 is of an unknown nature. A biped humanoid, he was unaware that the Takan Empire no longer existed at the time of the encounter. He was able to control the crystal-based technology of the Takan outpost through apparent telepathic means. It was by his choice that the Enterprise was released from the energy draining field after Commander William T. Riker of the Away Team argued on behalf of both Starfleet and the Ferengi.
Captain Riker?
Telepathic control of our technology.
Commander
As I've
Riker.
said, they were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy.
Let's go with the Enterprise.
The technology to capture and hold the Federation flagship would have to be unbelievably powerful. Computer, what else can you tell us about the energy-draining field the Takan used?
The Enterprise D was unable to break free on its own. The precise nature of the technology was never fully understood. Only that the crystalline technology used was beyond the comprehension of then-current Starfleet science.
The engineering team found a quantized spin crystal formation in the shuttle you took to Hotari. They registered tetrametric radiation coming from it.
We have Takan technology on board right now?
We might. I'll run a full analysis in the containment lab.
Okay. Let's do the Ferengi next.
There appears to be some sort of restriction order from Starfleet. Computer, explain this restriction.
A Starfleet directive similar to General Order 7 forbids entering the Delphi Ardu system or attempting to make contact with Portal 6-3.
Starfleet doesn't throw up a no trespassing sign for just anybody.
I suppose it makes sense considering what happened to the Enterprise D.
Okay.
What sort of planet is Delphi Ardu 4?
Delphi Ardu 4 is an M-class planet, a barren rocky world with little to no vegetation and frequent ion storms. The giant crystals that grow there absorb energy, but it is not understood how they do so. The entire Delphi Ardu system, consisting of 11 planets, was considered completely uninhabited until the encounter with Portal 6-3.
Frequent ion storms. That can't just be a coincidence.
Nope.
The Elydians should have crushed the revolt. But if the Hotari have Takan technology and can control it, I see why they're willing to negotiate peace. For all we know, this could be just the beginning. And we're up against something greater than we can imagine.
We need to go to
There's
those
only one way
mines.
to find out. We need to see what's down there for ourselves.
I might be able to help with that. We've been able to triangulate the source of the ionic interference and warp disruption to a specific mine on Tau. Engineering used the latest data from your shuttle to pinpoint its origin. There.
So we know where to look.
Commander Rydek's right. We need to know what's down there, what the Hotari are hiding, to better understand what we're up against, and to neutralize it if we can.
Captain, embarking on a mission to the Hotari moon would not be viewed favorably by either side. However,
No, it would not.
given the circumstances, we are entirely within our rights to defend ourselves.
I just want to make sure this doesn't blow up in our faces. Which is why I'm thinking of sending Commander Rydek on a covert mission to Tau.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Assuming you're up to the task. It would require absolute secrecy. And obviously, it's not without risk.
I'm ready for action, Captain. Just say the word and I'll be there.
I'll admit, I wish I could go myself. I'm hoping Tylus can accompany you. The priority is to avoid detection. It's a calculated risk. The last thing we need is to get caught and then blamed for violating our neutrality, aggravating an already tense situation. We can't
Yes,
afford
sir.
any mistakes, which is why I've chosen you.
It's a risk we
It's
have
a
to
risk
take.
we have to take. We need to know what we're up against.
Agreed. And of course, you'll have the full support of the Resolute throughout.
We must take every precaution.
Get in touch with Tylus and make the necessary arrangements as discreetly as possible.
Yes, sir.
Captain Solano. The Elydians have moved additional ships to the edge of the Hotari system. Current heading is straight for the homeworld.
Understood.
It would seem we no longer have the luxury of waiting. In that case, may I suggest you and I return to Hotari Prime? Doing so will provide Commander Rydek as much time as possible to complete her mission.
Agreed. We'll hail the Queen's delegation from my ready room. We all know what we need to do. Dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Petty Officers Diaz and Edsolar, where is the crystal formation that you found in the shuttle? I have tasked Ensign Calloway with performing a full analysis of the tetrametric pulses.
Security brought it to the containment lab.
I was just there. They don't know anything about it.
What?
Security never checked it in.
Miranda never got there?
She's the one that had the crystal formation?
Yeah, her and the rest of the security detail from the negotiations.
Diaz, Tamaris. Carter Diaz to Miranda Maris.
Commander Westbrook to Petty Officer Miranda Maris. Respond.
Something's not right.
She's still on the ship. She has to be.
Computer, locate Petty Officer Miranda Maris.
Petty Officer Miranda Maris is in the isolinear storage array on Deck 5.
I'll go find her.
Good.
I am sure Mr. Diaz can attend to this on his own.
Interesting. Where could she be?
Someone improperly pulled these isolinear chips.
Interesting. There's more on the ground.
Who did this?
I would call it in, to be honest. Wish I could use my Moscon badge. What was that? I'm gonna enter cautiously. There's more.
What the?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's just you. I'm busy right now. Why don't you come back later?
I called you on the comm badge. Twice. Commander Westbrook, too. Why didn't you answer?
Oh, I guess I was just caught up in my work.
Uh-huh.
But I'm through here, so I can't stay and chat. I have other things to do. Sorry you came all this way for nothing.
But hold on a second. Commander Westbrook said the crystal formation we found in the shuttle never made it to the containment lab. He sent me to find you.
I don't know why he'd say that. I brought the crystals to the lab myself. Whatever he told you, he got it wrong. All I know is where I left them.
Westbrook wouldn't lie about that.
Are you really so sure?
I just said he wouldn't.
Then maybe he's mistaken. I don't know. Look, I appreciate that you came to check on me, but I'm fine. You worry too much. We're on a starship.
You're acting
I'm worried
strange.
because you're acting strange. 1 minute you're citing regulation to take the crystals, and now you don't seem to care that they've gone missing. What are you even doing in here?
Will you drop it? I don't like being interrogated, Carter.
Hey, Wait up!
Jeez, she fast.
I'm getting some very mixed signals from you right now.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress right now. Just tell Chovak or whoever I don't know where the crystals are, and let me go about my business. I know we have some things to figure out. I don't have time to stand around.
I'll
and
tell them
debate with
myself.
If you won't give me a straight answer, you can tell them yourself.
you. This doesn't concern you.
Yes,
So
it
I'm good with
does.
that.
Miranda, hold on.
No. Get out of my way.
What the heck? Uh-oh.
So I see you found each other.
You were taking so long, the commander sent us to see what the problem was. Diaz, you were sent here with specific orders, and fighting your crewmate wasn't one of them. What the hell is going on here?
Let's just let them explain.
I'd like to hear that, because I know what it looks like.
There's something seriously wrong with her. She's not herself, I'm telling you.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
Well, for one, she was copying data onto this.
This drive is unauthorized.
There are ISOs all over the floor.
And that's why I was in here, investigating this situation. And when Carter came looking for me, we got our wires crossed. It wasn't anything more than that.
Check the data on this drive. I'm sure it'll show her access codes were used. And there were probably files copied while I was still with you two in engineering.
That makes sense.
Then get someone down here who can prove that. But until then, I have to go.
I don't know what's going on here, but I think we need to call it into security. She can explain herself in the brig.
Hold on a minute. We don't need to put this on anyone's permanent record. Carter said you're not yourself. If something's wrong with you, we should head to sickbay and the doc will fix you right up.
Yeah, I haven't felt right since I came back from Hotari. I think I should see the doctor.
You two know her? If you really think she's not well, we can take her to sickbay first. But what I know is this is a security breach, and we should treat it as such.
Please, just let me go see the doctor.
I'm calling
She
security.
did have a bumpy ride back on the shuttle.
I'm sorry.
This is Petty Officer Diaz. I need a security team to Deck 5.
This is unbelievable.
Kind of feels responsible, but I mean, sickbay could be also good, but she seemed fine in the. It seemed she was fine when she was there, but I don't know. Alrighty, well, guys, I hope you liked the second episode of Star Trek Resurgence. I appreciate you guys joining in with me on the second episode, and if you guys liked it, please help me with that comment and likes and a share. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, y'all.